Clay Travis is one of my favorite people on television. He's brilliant. Politics, sports, he does it all. Clay, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
We're doing great. Do you see me on Fox on Saturday when I called Mamdani a terrorist and Griff Jenkins apologized for me twice? Did you know that story?
I didn't see that story. That is really, really funny.
Yeah, I call him a terrorist on the air, and Griff stops me. So I start yelling at Griff. I go, Griff, the guys that are hanging out in Qatar, those Hamas guys, they never wore an explosive vest. They never shot a gun. They're still terrorists. Don't tell me he's a terrorist. And I leave. I do the segment with Rachel and Griff and Charlie. And in the last 2 hours of the show, I'm gone. Not once, but twice, Griff Jenkins apologized for me. So
it's very, very funny. I, did national sports gambling shows back in the day. And probably once a month or so, one of us on the show would say something, and the host of the show would have to apologize live on the air without us having been told that the apology was coming.
Right.
It was like a preemptive attempt to protect the network from things we had said. Yeah. And I will say, I do believe like the whole cancel culture era has basically vanished, but I think a lot of the rules, which were broken in the first place, right? Like an apology doesn't actually make anyone happy, right? Because the goal is not for you to screw up and say, oh, I'm sorry. The goal is to try and break and humiliate and destroy you. No one is actually offended. They just want to cut your balls off and not allow you to be able to say what you really think. That's the entire goal. Nobody's ever actually offended. If you are, you're an adult. Grow up. Who cares?
Bang. You just nailed it. That's why I love Clay Travis. Excellent. So, you talked about gambling shows, and I was made aware of this on your Twitter. I do follow you and read your stuff every day. Are you telling me that these ladies, including that thug, yes, I called her that, white or black, you can still be a thug, Angel Reese, they're betting on their own games and cutting videos about it?
This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in the history of at least the social media era. Yeah, this video is up. You can go see it on my Twitter feed at Clay Travis. I couldn't believe it last night when I saw this.
Me too.
Paige Buckers, who was a star at UConn, and Angel Reese, who got into it with Caitlin Clark back in the day when LSU played Iowa. They bet $400 on the outcome of their game last night, and the WNBA itself posted the video of each of them publicly making the bet and showing the cash that was at stake. Now, $400 on a WNBA game is like 90% of the salary these girls make. So, I mean, this is big money they put on the line.
Oh, my God. And it's illegal. You can't bet on games.
It's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I mean, imagine what the story would be like if we saw Shohei Ohtani's gambling scandal, where it was just a guy had access evidently to his bank account.
If you believe that,
yes. But it was a huge story. It was front page news for multiple days. We all know what happened to Pete Rose back in the day. I can't even think of a male sport where two guys. I mean, heck, when people bet on NFL games, right? Even small parlays, guys have gotten suspended for an entire season.
Yeah.
I don't know what the WNBA is going to do because it ties on also. I'm sure you saw this. The Seattle Storm had an owner who berated two teenage girls who wore shirts supporting Sophie Cunningham, coming out in favor of men not being able to play women's sports. This is just a broken league run by morons.
It really is. But I was glad that Clay, that they suspended that co-owner. I think her name is Ginny something or other Gilman. I'm glad they did that because to me, look, this is a racist league. But he says to me, why Caitlin Clark? Because she's white. And this league was a bunch of black girls. That's it.
And straight.
That's it. A bunch of black girls. And it's like, this is our league, bitch. And she comes in and she becomes a star and they're all beating her up. And who comes to our rescue? A white girl. Pretty, too. Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham, to me, is a hero. I'm glad at least the league suspended this co-owner. But for the most part, this league is a mess. It's a racist league, Clay Travis.
Yeah, look, it's a league run by black lesbians that hate a straight white girl. I mean, I think I was one of the first to say this, and people just, like gasped. And then you start seeing Caitlin Clark getting throat punched. You see that the league won't even speak out in her favor, right? When awful things happen to her, they have to tiptoe around it. And by the way, I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care anything else. If you have someone in your league that is the difference between you having to fly commercial and getting to fly private, I'm sorry. I would do whatever that person wanted. If I didn't have to if I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars, as many of these girls are, more than we otherwise would. She is the goose that laid the golden egg, and they're trying to strangle the goose to death. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
I saw Riley Gaines on, I couldn't agree more. I saw Riley Gaines on Fox News earlier, and she was also extolling Sophie's virtues. We all love Sophie Cunningham. But something else you put on Twitter, you nailed it again, Clay Travis. You said that when it comes to men competing in women's sports, we all know it's terrible. It's not bad. It's terrible. It's immoral. It's dangerous. There's nothing good about it, okay? Nothing. And yet, for the most part, men realize that, right? And women, they're the ones in this case who are being victimized, and yet it's the women that are not coming to the realization as quickly as the men. What is that about?
Yeah. I think, honestly, women's empathy is being, and I've never met a man who has said, yeah, you know what, I think that men should be able to compete in women's sports. I have never met one in my entire life.
Me either, not one. Me either.
I think this is probably in your audience. I'm not sure there's a single guy listening to us right now that would agree with men and women's sports. I think it's a 99.9 to 0.1 or whatever the heck it is issue. And the only men that would not have that opinion have never played sports, right? Any guy who has ever played high school sports and knows the difference between just high school level, any guy out there that's coached, if you coached a 7th grade girls team versus a 7th grade boys team, and these are different species as soon basically as we get testosterone rolling in for men. Women, I really believe this, are being taken advantage of because they're trying to be kind, they're trying to be empathetic, they're trying to be what women often are, nurturing, and they don't want to be the bad guy. And bad, ill actors are taking advantage of that empathy, and they're weaponizing against the women. These women think they're being kind, and actually the question is, who should your kindness go to? The little girl who doesn't get to make a team because a boy took her spot, the girl who doesn't get to start because a boy took her spot, or the boy who has decided that he's going to identify as a woman. To me, inclusion ultimately leads to exclusion, particularly in sports, because there's only so many team jobs, there's only so many team positions, there's only so many starters. So if you let a boy in, then ultimately you are excluding a girl in the name of inclusion, and they're taking advantage of it because they're focusing for women on the inclusion part and not the end result, the exclusion.
What a shame. I got to tell you, the Jets and Giants opened up training camp 2 days ago, and I'm a huge college football fan because I spent a lot of my life down in Florida, in Miami. So ACC football, SEC football. I know you had the SEC weekend last weekend, and I actually spoke to Ariel Epstein, who's a lovely young lady. So with football season starting, Clay, I hope you will come on this show even more because, again, I think the world of you. I think you're great. I really do. Politics, sports, it doesn't matter. You're fantastic. Thank you so much for hopping on this morning.
Appreciate it. Apologies to Jets fans for the seasons they're going to have.
Well, how bad is it going to be? They got Geno Smith back.
It's going to be bad. I think you're going to sit back and look. To be fair, there's a lot of good young quarterbacks that I think are going to be in the 27 draft. So if I were a Jets fan, I'd go ahead and start watching some of those guys and daydreaming about who we might get.
All right, give me my team. I'm a Giant guy. I did the Giant pregame show for WFAN for 3 years. We got Jackson Dart in his second year, the starting quarterback. What do you think of my Giants?
I'm optimistic about the Giants. Now, I didn't love. I'm sure you saw Scatterbo doing the backflip as he's trying to recover from the leg. But I do think Jackson Dart is going to be a very good quarterback in the league. I like how decisive he is. Team seems to stand behind him for the most part and believe in him. I think you will see a big jump for Jackson Dart, presuming he can stay healthy. He needs to stay in the pocket more. Don't need to take the hits that he's taking. Sometimes feels gratuitous, unnecessary when he's scrambling. Get out of bounds faster, slide more, stay healthy. I think you'll see a big jump.
Clay Travis, amazing job, buddy. Thank you so much. Let's keep doing this, okay, buddy? Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to come on. Appreciate y'all.
God bless you. Clay Travis right there. And OutKick.com. I think he's done with them, though. I'm hearing rumors that maybe Clay be doing something of his own. I don't know. He's terrific.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?